Welcome. Trial reels is the first topic on the agenda. For anyone that's not aware of what trial reels are, they are a good testing ground in order to put out content that you're unsure about. First things first, trial reels are a complement to your current content, things that you should be posting regularly anyway. Best practice at the moment is to have your content go out like you do on a regular basis, but then you can use trial reels to test different iterations of what that might look like. Instagram does want to promote useful and valuable content, and they're trying to reward effort. So if you are not actually putting effort into what your iterations look like and thinking about it a bit more deeply, be prepared to see your numbers on trials go down, because that is something that people are struggling with, even just getting views on trials in general. Like, let's say this is my trial reel, right? And I've edited it, I've done all the stuff. You need to slide this over, hit share. So let's say I just shared that as a trial reel. I can go into my reels, check my trials. So you can see what this kind of looks like in terms of how it shows up in the trials section. So again, draft and trials, when you've actually got one, go in, hit trials, then we can have a look. Now, what I didn't do in this particular instance is a lot of the time I would recommend duplicating it either in edits or duplicating it in your drafts. That way, when you're actually on your drafts, you can make the changes from a base. Good to have something that is unique in each trial, but it's also a great place to test small changes on things. So for instance, this one just has exact same caption, and the only difference that I was testing out was song. Now you can see in terms of outcome, one of the songs had a much higher view rate. So when we go and check it, it actually popped a little bit harder. Whether or not that's to do with the song is up for debate, because one of the things that I'm conscious of at this point in time is sometimes the content just doesn't hit the right audience when it's in trials, because it doesn't yet really know. It can try and categorize what your content's about, but it doesn't actually know what your, like, who your ideal audience should be. So it is testing. That's the whole point of a trial. So in here, if it doesn't get to the right people, you might find subdued outcomes. And that's why when you do get a bit of pop off, it's not a bad idea to actually graduate it to your main page, because on your main page, it's going to be seen by the people who are actually invested in your content. In terms of the lottery that kind of takes place when we post content, you might have the exact same piece of content and it just hits the right people at the right time and therefore does better without any discernible difference between them. So I really want to push that home. When you're using trials, they are not the be all end all of whether or not a piece of content will be successful. And it's really important to actually push stuff. So this one went onto my page. It's really important to push it onto the page so that it can be seen by your followers and not get lost in, oh, this only got, 55% view rate past 3 seconds with this audience. Because if you do that, you'll end up never posting anything, and nothing will really stand up to the mark that you want. Where trials, I think, can be really beneficial for everyone if you have access to it is, one, it should never replace the normal posting that you're going to be doing regardless. So it's very easy to get caught in the trap of, I'll only put it in trials and see if it does well before I graduate it to my main page. But ideally what we can do is, if we post a reel on our main page, you can turn that into, I'm going to duplicate it, I'll put it in trial reels. This is trial reel 1. And what we test between these two things is, this is our audience and this is our non-engaged audience. And so with our non-engaged audience, is there a chance that something translates better, or is our audience actually important in it doing well? So that's one test. The next part of it is we then test. So these should be exactly the same, by the way. 1 and 2 should be exactly the same reel. Just keep it really simple. These further iterations that you do, these ones here, you want to be changing different variables, right? So X and Y, it could be different song, different, order of operations in your video. So changing up the way that it looks, feels, giving it some sort of distinct change between what you actually put on your main page, so you can test if something has a high hit rate. Like for some of you more color orientated people, you might do different filters and stuff like that. I saw some good color grading that had a nice impact on one set of trial reels. Pacing is also really important. So you can, Danny did a test where she had a reel that went for like 15 seconds, and then she slowly chopped it down, cut out dead time, and had the different iterations of it to see if it improved with delivery of value, or the length of time that it actually spent on the value, or different cuts between scenes, so that are we actually ticking the brain and delivering our message as effectively as possible. But ultimately, again, the tricky part with all of this is that there is the whole unknown factor of, am I just posting at the correct time for this piece of content to be seen by the right people. And simply by adding more lottery tickets into the system with discernible changes and some sort of effort, we give ourselves a better chance of getting into that giant funnel where you end up with 100K views or something similar. If you're creating a piece of content, put it on your main page, have your trial reel running. If, for instance, the main page one doesn't perform as well and you want to go through and graduate this trial reel, go in, you can go to manage, you can go to edit, and you can do this all in the trial reel portion of it and change the cover photo. So if you're really worried about duplicating stuff on your page, change the cover photo so that people can't see that it's the exact same reel. And if you're reusing content after a given period of time, the example I always use is like this reel right here with the apple looks completely out of place, but no one goes back and has a look. But it was a trial reel of one of my best performing reels that just now sits there with an apple image instead. So if you go through, you might notice, but no one's actually going back to have a look and then check. But yes, that's how you can utilize the ones that main page, trial reel that pops off and you want to keep it and put it to your page there. Change the cover image, move it across, have them both going. Otherwise, when you are looking at the insights, Instagram, and I saw this the other day, go into your reel and see if you can get, there should now be little tips and insights just under your stuff here, and it'll say things like, this reel is not as engaging as it could be. And yeah, so this reel could be more engaging. So it looks like this in the overview. Now this one it's not being shown as often because it's getting fewer likes and shares than usual from your non-followers. And it'll say things like, oh, because the view rate past 3 seconds isn't as good, or it's not getting as many saves as your other content, or as many shares as your other content. I was seeing this, it was like, oh, this reel's not doing as well as it should because it's not engaging people past 3 seconds. I was like, stuff it, I haven't posted anything in a while, I'll graduate it. When I graduated it and my followers started picking it up, that message changed to, this reel is incredible, its view rate past 3 seconds is amazing, it's getting pushed out to all these new people. I was like, if I had just listened to this little insight here, I never would have graduated. But it shows how much things can change when you actually push it out into the wider sphere. And sometimes it's just timing, sometimes it is purely just the fact that it's not a good reel, sometimes the fact that followers are more engaged with your content, which will help get it that extra little bump. Taking it all back to trial reels, the regular iterations, not just trusting that trial reels will determine that the reel will be perfect. And then there's also an element of timing. You're trying to spread your chances of winning and at the same time trying to learn from whatever variable that you're trying to control with your trials to see if you can apply it to future pieces of content. But ultimately it is a bit of a case of there is luck. So that's trial reels in a nutshell. So post your content. Now, if you want to not post it to your feed first, you don't have to do exactly what I tell you to do, but ideally make sure you at least graduate one of them so that it does hit your main feed. Mine's, what he does, he posts 5 in the morning, 5 in the evening. He graduates ones that do well. You kind of get a bit of a feel for it. If one kind of pops a little bit harder than the others, then you post that one. But as Danny's experienced for herself, we've been, watching them race each other. It's like, oh, I got to 4,000 views. We should post that one. And then literally 2 hours later, the next one's at 5,000. The 4,000 one hasn't moved. Use your trial reels, use them to test content and try and learn from each iteration that you do. So have a rationale behind what your change is and then go from there. But without getting into ideation, I wanted to get into Media Kit. We've been using beacons, like there's no affiliation with beacons. Simply, it's fairly straightforward to set up. What it does is it collates everything into one spot and then helps people at a glance kind of see my audience, 25% the US. So US markets have a little bit more interest in working with me than perhaps say even Australia. You can write a quick little blurb. The most important thing is that the information is available to brands and collaborators.
The way I did it was where you have the links, I then clicked on Media Kit and then I clicked this Media Kit dashboard. Yeah. So I went to the links section here. Which is so weird. When you sign up with Beacons, it'll automatically ask you to give connect all of this, and then it'll automatically set it up for you. So on Linktree, you have to do it manually. On this, it does it automatically for you. Once you've done that, you then...
Oh, so click on that.
Yep. And then you click Media Kit Dashboard.
So Media Kit Dashboard is what you're looking for, everyone.
Yeah, this.
All right, so click on that and it'll take you into the dashboard where you can alter stuff. But you can switch stuff off, you can add things in. Like I don't really use TikTok, so I left that out. I've only got the Twitter, and not that I even use that.
Yeah, you could click the sections to edit it. That's what I did.
Yep.
And so you could turn that X off if you wanted to. You can also add a resume.
Yeah, you can add posts.
Yeah, it's really cool. You can add them here as
a portfolio.
What you've done work with. Yeah.
Brand partners. So if I enter here, I just go enter company. That's them. You're not at 2.7K followers.
It probably needs to be refreshed.
Check, there you go. Yeah, it was cached. That's how much you've grown since we started the media kit. Holy. Anyway, that's cool.
So it has information about things I've done. I did case studies for mine so that you can read about it, or you could just have it as just the brand.
Again, the value of doing something like this is it's one digestible point of contact for people to think about whether or not they want to work with you. I suggest whatever is in line with your current branding and personality, put something in there that's you, like uniquely you.
I see this as a resume, so I try to keep it like short and simple, but also capture my personality because no one's going to want to read a lot of information.
And that's the key.
So you can even write like, oh, I'm very nerdy, I'm a meme lord, I love helping others. Like, people think that mentioning that they like memes is, not unprofessional, but it is your brand. It's not unprofessional.
I was going to say, because it's centered around the type of content that they're likely to want you to create for their brand.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
So
why I wrote
if you're a
comedian.
meme lord and someone is not really into memes, then you don't really want to work with them anyway, because it's not in line with what content you're going to be creating.